Hey guys, we're going to look at your last section on triangle congruence today, which is basically a review. There are lots of proofs in this particular section that you have to build from scratch, as well as this first page, which is identification. So you are going to identify each congruence as side, 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 angle, side, angle, side, angle, 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 side, or hypotenuse leg. Remember, hypotenuse leg can only be used on right triangles. So we're going to do a few of these together, and then you guys will do the rest of them with me in class. Taking a look at problem number 1. We have angle congruence here and here. And then we have a common side in the middle. This one is angle, side, angle. Taking a look at problem number 2, we have an angle, angle, side, angle, angle, side. It is really that simple. This is a side and a vertical angle. We don't have a side angle. So these two triangles are not congruent. We have side, angle, common side. So side, angle, side. Taking a look at number 9, we have a right triangle. So we have a hypotenuse congruent to a hypotenuse and a leg and a leg. So this one will be hypotenuse leg. And then taking a look at number 11, we have a set of congruent angles and a congruent side, but that's it. So these two are not congruent. Mixed practice. That means these can be anything. Problem number 1. L is the midpoint of KN and MP. So that means we have two congruences here. Prove MKL is congruent to P and L. So L is the midpoint of KN and MP is given. And we are trying to prove that triangle MKL is congruent to triangle PNL. So we can tell that KL is congruent to NL by definition of midpoint. And we can tell that ML is congruent to PL by definition of midpoint. And I hope that we can look at this and tell that angle MLK is congruent to angle, excuse me, PLN, because those are vertical angles, which means these two triangles are congruent by side, angle, side. All right, let's take a look at the next page. And let's look at problem number 5. Given that KL is parallel to NP, so KL parallel to NP, and KL is congruent to NP. So the first thing I'm going to notice is that we've got another pair of vertical angles here. And if we have got parallel lines, then we're going to have another set of parallel or congruent angles here as well. So that should help us with our proof. So KL is parallel to NP and KL is congruent to NP are our givens. And then triangle KML congruent to triangle PMN is what we're trying to prove. So we know that angle L is congruent to angle N because they are alternate interior angles. If you want to use the angle symbol, you can. And then angle NMP is congruent to angle LMK because they are vertical angles. So it looks like we are having two triangles congruent by angle, angle, side. CPCTC, corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, can also be a reason why two triangles are congruent. So you will use that when when you are asked to prove parts are congruent, but first you must prove the triangles are congruent. So this is illustrating parts being congruent versus a proof where you have two triangles to be congruent. So taking a look at number 1, AB congruent to AD, BC congruent to CD, and you are proving angle BCA congruent to angle DCA. And we should also see we have a side here that we share. So AB congruent to AD and BC congruent to CD, both are given. And we're going to prove angle BCA is congruent to angle DCA, and we know their corresponding parts, so we really already know our reason. So we're going to say side AC is congruent to side AC, and that is reflexive property. And we're going to say our two triangles are congruent. Triangle, let's do triangle ABC. Is congruent to triangle ADC by side, side, side. So if these triangles are congruent, then these angles are congruent because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent. So this concludes our last video for our introductory to triangle congruences chapter. Don't forget your questions box, and I hope you guys have a great afternoon.